One of the most important things that came out of this meeting is the first contact between the US and Russia since the Ukraine war began. So the first contact happened between Mr. Blinken, the US Secretary of State, and Mr. Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister. They spoke briefly on the, like they say, on the sidelines of the G20 foreign ministers meeting. So this is the first diplomatic, top level diplomatic contact between the two nations for the past for more than 1 year. So this is something excuse me, which happened in New Delhi. Uh, so that's what these news reports are. You can see the two gentlemen together, very close to each other, and they met briefly. The Russians are claiming that the contact was initiated by the Americans, and the two foreign ministers did not have a structured sit down meeting. They simply spoke informally for about 10 minutes or so. And This is a report in which Mr. Blinken is saying that he told Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov to end this war of aggression, and Russia must engage in meaningful diplomacy that can produce a just and durable peace. The same talking points that we've been hearing for the longest time. So essentially, the Americans gave three major messages to the Russians. Firstly, it was about the New START treaty that the Russians have withdrawn. I mean, they have suspended. Mr. Putin recently announced that he is suspending Russia's participation in the New START treaty. So I've spoken about this in the past. I will not go into the details right now. So the first message from America to Russia was that Russia needs to rejoin the New START treaty. That's the first demand or message that was conveyed. The second one was that Russia should reactivate grain shipments from Ukraine. So the Americans are essentially blaming Russia for the fact that grain is not coming out of Ukraine. Well, the Russians are saying that it's the Ukrainians who are not allowing the grain to come out. So whatever what the truth is, we don't quite know unless you go and you have a presence on the ground and see what's really happening. So the Americans, secondly, they said Russia needs to reactivate grain shipments from Ukraine. And thirdly, the message from the US to Russia was that the US will support Ukraine as long as it takes. In other words, the Americans will continue this proxy war to the last Ukrainian, as long as the last Ukrainian soldier is alive. Essentially, that's what it means. What the Russians conveyed to the US, we're not quite sure, because the Russians have not given out any statement. So that's the one of the major things that happened in the G20 foreign ministers meeting.